Hello class, it's been a few days since I've made one of these videos, although I've attempted to make a couple. Ran into issues with uploading. Let's hope this one goes better. We've already had our third meeting on the 25th. It's the night of the 26th, by the way, so our Thursday meeting is coming up. I think the first two videos that I gave you are adequate introduction to lines and linear functions. I want to concentrate today on more general kinds of functions than just linear functions. I'd better start though with some housekeeping issues. So teaching this course is proving to be a struggle. Problems keep cropping up. They haven't all been solved, but some of them have been. So if you go on Blackboard now, the course is all set up so that you can get the code that you need to purchase your electronic textbook if you wish to do that. It's about $61, I think, maybe before taxes, I'm not sure, but it's under $70. And then the link is there with Pearson Publishers, so you can communicate with them and get the book from them. So that's been done. The syllabus and the agenda are now available directly from Blackboard. That's another thing that's been accomplished. The big challenge for me is the Zoom platform. So I'm using this rather crude whiteboard that comes with Zoom. I really need an iPad, and then I can do more things. I can't seem to find one in town. I purchased one and a pen, but they were incompatible. I have to take them back. I'll continue to work on that. We've got the Labor Day holiday coming up, not too far off. Maybe I can resolve the issue by then. So I'm just doing the best I can with the technology that I have available. Oh, your homework is coming in. It's not even due until tomorrow, the first two assignments, but several of you have already submitted it. It's nice to see that. I went through all my emails, and for the first time I acknowledged that I'd received these submissions. Okay, so what we need to talk about, we're skipping the last section of chapter 2, where we did sections 1.1 and 1.2, and now we're going to section 2.1. So we want to discuss functions, intro to mathematical functions. Okay, now first the general idea of a function. So it's a rule. Actually, it's three things. To specify a function completely, you have to have a set of objects called the domain of the function, and another set called the range. These will usually be sets of numbers for us. And then you have to have a rule. And this rule assigns to each member of the domain a member of the range, and the member it assigns is called the value of the function. So it might assign this element this value, and this element this value, and this element this value. So you allow for two different elements in the domain to have the same function value. That's permitted. What isn't permitted is for an element in the domain to have two different function values. So if this is an element of the domain and this is the value of the function, that has to be the only value. This is not allowed. You can't have this. Okay, well, let's have a couple of examples to build your intuition. This could be the set of all human beings, and you could assign to each human being his or her biological mother. So two individuals can have the same mother, but one individual can't have two different biological mothers. That would be a function. Now what about the rule that assigns to each element in the domain, each human being a daughter? Well, that fails to be a function for two reasons. First of all, not every human being has a daughter. So there's no rule that assigns to certain individuals a value, because not every human being has a daughter. The other problem is that a person can have more than one daughter. So for two different reasons, that's not a function. Okay, now, let's do math now. So, okay, so previously we talked about standard form for lines. So for instance, we could have 2x plus 3y equals 6. Now this equation defines x as a function of y and y as a function of x. You can go both ways. Why is y a function of x? Well, solve the equation for y. I hope I did this right. So if 2x plus 3y is 6, move the 2x term to the right and then divide all three terms by 3. So if you're given a value of x, that determines the value of y. So the value of x determines the value of y. Okay, also x is a function of y. So you can solve for x. Okay, so y's value now determines x value, x's value. Okay, now let's have an example where it doesn't go both directions like that. So look at this one. Now this will test your background in basic algebra, algebra 1. So let's look at next example. Y cubed equals x squared. Okay. Now, numbers only have one cube root. So take cube roots of both sides. So y is then x to the power 2/3. Now you may have to, the main point is not the details here, but now the value of x determines the value of y, so y is a function of x. So y is a function of x. But if we take square roots of both sides, so let me switch sides here. Take square roots, and we run into a problem because x is plus or minus y to the 3/2. And here if y is positive, there will be two different values of x. Because numbers have two square roots. The square root of 4, there are two square roots of, let's take the number, let's see, let me think a minute. Okay, let's take the number 64. So 64 has two square roots, plus 8 and minus 8. So we might not be able to find the value of x if this number, if y cubed were 64. It'd be ambiguous. Do we take the plus 8 or the minus 8? So we don't have a function here. Okay, so y is a function of x, so x is not a function of y. Okay, now we need to talk about function notation. This is probably the main thing you need to get. And function notation and graphs of functions, and then we'll be done. Let's do function notation first. Okay, look at this. This example. So y equals f of x equals x squared minus 6x plus 5. Now this is function notation. It doesn't mean multiply f by x. So this is function notation. F is not a number here. It's a function. So f of x means the value of the function for the number x, at the number x. That's the key idea. F of x denotes, stands for the value of the function f. The value of the function f assigns to the number x. Okay. For instance, when x is 1, we get 0 here, don't we? 1 squared is 1, 6 times 1 is 6, 1 minus 6 plus 5 is 0. So f assigns to the number 1 the value 0. In other words, f of 1 is 0. F assigns to the x value 1, the y value 0. Okay, so let's make a table of values for this function and graph the function. And you'll be doing that on your fourth graded homework, by the way. A different example, similar to that. Okay, so our example is y equals f of x equals x squared minus 6x plus 5. Now let's find these values. F of 0, f of 1, f of 2, f of 3, f of 4, f of 5, f of 6. Okay, so f assigns to the x value 0, the y value 5. So we'll see shortly that what that means is the point 0, 5 is on the graph of the function. Points on the graph of the function. Okay, when x is 0, y is 5. That's it. That's this point. F of 1. We just did that one. This is plus 5, by the way. That's 0. F of 2. Okay, 4 minus 12 plus 5. That's 3, isn't it? Negative 3, maybe. Yeah, negative 3. F of 3. 9 minus 18 plus 5, so it's negative 9 plus 5, that's negative 4. F of 4, 16 minus 24 plus 5, negative 6 plus 5 is, let's say, 16 minus 12, 16 minus 24, excuse me, is minus 8 plus 5, minus 3. I'll say it again. I made a mistake. I'll say it again. 16 minus 24 plus 5 is minus 3. Okay, didn't write the values here. F of 5. Okay, so 5 squared is 25. 25 and 5 are 30, and this is minus 30, so this one is 0. And then f of 6 is 6 squared minus 6 times 6 plus 5. So these terms cancel, so this one's 5. Okay, so these points are on the graph of the function. This is an example of a quadratic function. We'll be studying them shortly. One way to draw the graph of a function is to make a table of values and try to guess the shape of the graph. So in this case, we get a picture like this. I need to have the emphasis. You remember how we numbered the quadrants 1, 2, 3, 4. Most of these points are in quadrant 4. So let me make the x-axis up here. Okay, a little higher. Okay, so 0, maybe if I use a different color, you can see it better. X is 0, y is 5. X is 1, y is 0. X is 2, y is negative 3. X is 3, y is negative 4. X is 4. Y is negative 3 again. X is 5, y is 0. X is 6, y is 5. So is the shape clear to you yet? It looks something like this. Not a very skillful drawing, but it's a parabola. A parabola is one of the four kinds of conic sections: circle, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola. Okay, so in your homework, one of the things you'll do is graph a quadratic function. It'll be kind of the same flavor as this example. All right, let's stop there.